Sarasota Congressman Vern Buchanan will have to testify under oath in a lawsuit involving his former business partner, who alleges Buchanan was the architect of a plan to violate federal elections laws.
Now, Buchanan lost the bid in court last week to force the matter to arbitration, which would have allowed him to avoid testifying. But as 10 News investigator Mike Deason explains, the Sarasota congressman, who is under fire from the House Ethics Committee, will be in the hot seat.
These are false tax returns, according to what I see.
Consumer advocate Dwayne Overholt is talking about Sarasota Congressman Vern Buchanan, who's being investigated by the U.S. House of Representatives Ethics Committee.
He already once had to admit that he filed incomplete financial disclosures.
According to House Ethics, yes.
And while Buchanan will soon have to testify under oath, he doesn't want to admit anything or answer any allegations at the present time from his former corporate chief financial officer, Sal Rosa. Rosa's testified that Buchanan engaged in fraud as well as an evasion of U.S. income tax and a conspiracy to evade taxes.
You're not going to address any of these charges. Okay, I understand you have to get to a meeting, but there's some serious charges against you.
For example, among the allegations of tax fraud include Buchanan taking money from his Sarasota Ford dealership to purchase Lexus and Toyota dealerships in Melbourne.
He took the tax write-off from the Ford store as a loss. It wasn't. It was a gain.
Then Buchanan sold the dealerships for $56 million and claimed he didn't have to pay personal income taxes on the profit because it was through what's called an S corporation. They shield people from paying those personal taxes. But Rosa, his former chief financial officer, has testified he told Buchanan the IRS could argue he was violating the integrity of the S corporation and should have paid $16 million in taxes.
If I sell my business and I bought it for $10,000 and I sell it for $50,000, I have to show a $40,000 profit. Why isn't the $56 million from the Lexus Melbourne stores and the Toyota Melbourne stores reflected anywhere in his tax returns?
If the truth comes out, there's nothing that Mr. Buchanan can do to avoid the obvious facts that compel his culpability in all of the matters that we've alleged.
Bob Stock represents one of Buchanan's former partners, Sam Kazran, who alleges the congressman orchestrated a series of illegal campaign contributions. He says to raise capital, Buchanan directed Kazran to instruct employees to contribute to the Buchanan campaign, and then Buchanan directed they be reimbursed for such contributions from his auto dealership.
Oh, yes, we have his recording on tape.
Buchanan implies if Kazran takes the rap for the election violations, he'll help with his financial problems.
If I can find a way to feel secure in this, I'm willing to work with you. But again, if we get down the road and things start to get, personal and nasty, then I'm out.
But Buchanan's office issued this statement saying another phone message that Buchanan left cleared him.
You got more liability than you know if you start telling people that you reimburse people, because technically you have that liability. All I told you, I've always made it clear, is that you can't reimburse people.
While the Sarasota congressman says that message was evidence used by the Federal Elections Commission to clear him of campaign violations, the FEC found there's evidence that Buchanan for funds, and it raises legitimate questions as to Buchanan's credibility.
And while Buchanan continues to run for re-election to Congress with his campaign headquarters here at Buchanan Enterprises in downtown Sarasota, attorney Robert Stock says he's convinced that Buchanan will eventually be thrown out of Congress, arrested, or both.
I can't imagine that the floodgates of public opinion and the floodgates of justice will not overwhelm Mr. Buchanan.
But for now, Buchanan has the blessing of the Republican Party and a $1.7 million campaign war chest. Mike Deason, 10 News.
In addition to being investigated by the House Ethics Committee, sources say Buchanan is also being investigated by the FBI and the Internal Revenue Service.
Last week, his legal team lost a case because it submitted a forged document to the Hillsborough court on the congressman's behalf.
And speaking